In the 3rd month after Ryan got back together with his ex-girlfriend, he suddenly asked about me. Has Zoe been hiding away and crying again these days? Friends exchanged glances. Seems like it's been a long time since we last saw her. I heard she got married recently. Impossible. Just a rumor to force Ryan to take her back. Ryan spoke calmly. Go tell her. Tonight at the usual place. Friends teased. If Zoe's crying, would you soften up? He chuckled lightly. We'll see. But that night, he waited until it was very late, and I still didn't show up. He gave me a call, and I didn't answer. He has a girlfriend, and I'm married now. We should definitely keep our distance. Chapter 01. The day Ryan got back together with his ex-girlfriend. It happened to be my birthday. Just as I was about to cut the cake, the room door was suddenly pushed open forcefully from the outside. It was Emma again, the ex-girlfriend who almost cost Ryan half his life. She was so beautiful, her dress and makeup impeccably perfect. Even her hair seemed to be glowing. I instinctively hid my hand behind my back, but the calluses on my fingers accidentally snagged a thread on my dress. Ryan. Emma pushed past the friend standing in front of her. She lifted her skirt and rushed in front of Ryan. I give up. This time, I'm the one giving in. Her words sounded submissive, but her chin remained defiantly lifted. She struggled to hold back her tears. The room fell silent. I instinctively looked at Ryan. His expression was cold as he sat on the sofa. Indifferent. He didn't look at Emma once, but his lips were tightly pressed. Ryan, I'll ask you just once. Do you want to get back together with me? As soon as Emma finished speaking, Ryan suddenly let out a mocking laugh. Who do you think you are? You break up when you want, and then get back together when you want? Even as he spoke, he reached out and pulled me into his arms. His movement was rough, and my nose bumped against his firm chest. The sharp pain almost made me tear up. Emma, I have a girlfriend. Can't you see? Ryan lowered his head, and his kiss followed, landing at the corner of my slightly wet eye. Emma's face went pale instantly. Fine. You're ruthless. She pointed at Ryan, tears falling more fiercely. Ryan, I will never speak to you again in my life. After she said that, she glanced at me tearfully. Then, shockingly, she pushed the table over. The champagne tower fell. The glasses shattered. The cake was ruined. Emma and I were both cut by the shattered glass. Her arm, and my face. But Ryan let go of me and instinctively grabbed her. Don't move. You're bleeding. His eyes were filled with concern. I don't need you. Go worry about your girlfriend. Emma pushed him away, crying, and ran out. It seemed Ryan had forgotten about me. He stood there, hesitating for only 2 seconds. Then he quickly ran after her. He didn't look back at me even once. Chapter 02. Maybe they were afraid I'd feel awkward. Or perhaps, more simply, they were just Ryan and Emma's friends. They had nothing to do with someone like me. So, one by one, they all left the room. I was wearing a beautiful dress, holding my wounded face. That feeling of sadness, like an undertow, quietly consumed me. This was the grandest, most lavish birthday party of my life. The beautiful 2-layered cake. It was the one I used to watch, pressing my nose against the bakery window as a child. I had secretly looked at it countless times, imagined its taste countless times. I almost had it, but now it was all a mess. I crouched down, picked a clean piece and took a bite, but it didn't taste as good as I imagined, not even as good as a cheap cupcake. But I still ate that piece of cake. By the time I finished the cake, Ryan's call came through. Zoe. His voice came through the earpiece, and faintly, Emma's too. I'm here, I answered softly. I have something to tell you. Don't start crying first. I am a bit of a crybaby, born with tear ducts shallower than most people. Ryan, are you done? You're breaking up with me, and you're still comforting her? Emma's voice came through, sounding angry. Ryan's tone immediately became hurried. Let's break up. They told me your face was cut. I'll give you some money. Don't come causing trouble. That money is more than your dad would earn in 3 years fishing. I hadn't had a chance to say anything. The call ended abruptly. Chapter 03. Ryan has always been very generous. I've heard he had a few ex-girlfriends before. He was extravagant during the relationship and would give them a lot of money as breakup compensation. My best friend Roxana tugged on my ear, warning me, "Don't be stupid. Take the money. Otherwise, you're a fool. Getting dumped on your birthday. Getting your face cut. Almost disfigured if you don't demand emotional damages. We're being too kind." The scar from my forehead to the corner of my eye slowly began to heal, but Ryan still hadn't transferred any money to me. I tried to confront Ryan and Emma, but I couldn't even see Ryan's face. Instead, I got harshly mocked by Emma and her friends, just as I was planning to call the police. My family suddenly ran into trouble. My father owns a small fishing boat. A few days ago, while out fishing, due to stormy waves, he accidentally grazed someone's yacht. We have to pay a large amount of money as compensation. If we can't, he will go to jail. If Ryan's compensation to me were like the rumors, it would just about cover it. My father's hair has turned half white with worry. I transferred all my part-time earnings and scholarship money to him, but it was just a drop in the bucket. Roxana, frustrated with my hesitation, grabbed my phone and texted Ryan. His call came quickly, but when I answered, it was Emma's voice. Chapter 04. Zoe. Is it? Poor people really have no ambition. After taking so much advantage, it's still not enough. And you have the nerve to ask for compensation? Women from your little fishing village really know how to hook and exploit, don't they? My face turned beet red, and I struggled to come up with a retort. But tears fell first, cascading down. How could she have the nerve to say that about me? Ryan and I had been dating for less than a year. Every argument we had was because of her. The first time, Ryan left me on the roadside because of her, and I almost ran into trouble. We gave each other the silent treatment for half a month, and I cried for half a month. The second time, it was also because of her. Ryan flew abroad and was unreachable for a week. At that point, I had made up my mind to break up. But when he came back, he was in such a bad state and ended up in a minor car accident. His friends called me repeatedly, saying he wanted to see me. When I saw him, I softened again. The third time was my birthday. I almost ended up disfigured. The doctor said if it were half a centimeter closer, it would have injured my eye. Don't they owe me compensation? I'm just asking for what I deserve. I choked back my tears. You were the one who hurt my face. Didn't you end up not disfigured? Emma sneered and hung up abruptly. Then, she transferred 5,000 yuan to me using Ryan's account. Holding my phone, tears streamed down my face. In the end, I stubbornly didn't accept the money. Accepting it would mean settling privately. I may be a poor girl from the village, no match for these rich kids, but someday, I will make Emma pay for her mistakes. Chapter 05. The due date arrived, and we still hadn't gathered enough money. The yacht's owner showed up at our doorstep. I was actually quite puzzled. Do rich people have so much free time that they'd personally come to my house over such a trivial matter? Were they afraid we'd abandon the boat and flee without paying? I discreetly observed the man. The watch on his wrist, I'd heard Ryan mention that brand before. At least 8 figures. Unable to understand it. I just stopped thinking about it. I stood there with my father and brother, adopting a very humble attitude, hoping he would be merciful. And this man, named Elias, really did show mercy. My father was a bit confused. Did you say you'd give me a new fishing boat? My brother was trembling with excitement. Did you say I could open a shop and start a business on land? My father dreamed of having the most advanced, fully automated fishing boat. My brother dreamed of opening a small shop and settling down on land, never having to fish again. Yes, as long as she marries me. Elias pointed at me and said bluntly, her birth chart is good for me. Auspicious. If I marry her this year, my assets will double. My father and brother both looked at me. Zoe, what do you think? I stood there, dumbfounded. Elias looked about 27 or 28. Handsome, though when he wasn't smiling, he looked quite stern. Worth billions. Tall, long legs. Any way you look at it, it's a good deal for me. I swallowed nervously. If Dad gets a new fishing boat, and my brother gets a shop, why don't I get anything? Elias was startled at first, But then he smiled. When he smiled, he looked rather gentle and elegant. I felt my face heat up, too embarrassed to look at him again, but he waved his hand, and someone brought in lots of small cakes. They were fragrant, delicious cupcakes. I could eat 3 in one go. Holding the cakes, I asked him a few important questions. Your last name is the same as Emma's. Do you know her? Elias thought for a moment. I think someone in my family has that name. And is she afraid of you? The smile in Elias' eyes deepened. Her entire family should be afraid of me. In this entire city. Is your family more powerful than Ryan's? Of course. All right then. I hugged the cupcakes tightly and nodded vigorously. I agree, but I'm still in school. Can we wait a bit before getting married? Elias looked deeply into my eyes and smiled. We can register first, and have the wedding after you graduate. I raised my hand to him. Deal. Elias high-fived me. Pleasure to meet you. My face turned slightly red. You can still call me by my name for now. I don't want to make it public yet. Elias stood up. He really is tall. I had to tilt my head up just to see his face. All right, Zoe. When he said my nickname, it sounded a bit strange. Even after he left, my ears were still burning. Chapter 06. I would occasionally run into Ryan and Emma at school. Sometimes they seemed very in love. Sometimes they were arguing, but they always made up quickly. I started making a conscious effort to avoid them. A lot of classmates whispered behind my back that I had missed out on a golden opportunity. They thought I must be so jealous of Emma now, but no one knew. I often woke up in the middle of the night and opened my phone to check my account. There was the enormous dowry Elias had given me. I counted those zeros again and again, and then drifted back to sleep, satisfied. Soon summer vacation arrived. I went back home to go fishing with Dad, completely removed myself from Ryan's circle. So, when I got a call from one of his friends that day, I was quite surprised. After some small talk, his friend finally got to the point. Zoe, tonight at the usual spot. Ryan wants to meet you. I was just about to refuse. Dress up. Make sure you look nice. Here's a secret for you. Ryan and Emma have broken up. For real. They've broken up. Take your chance. I didn't even get a chance to say anything. The call ended. Dad was calling me to bring in the nets. I soon forgot all about it. Chapter 07. The friend came back, patting Ryan with a smile. I just called Zoe. The others immediately chimed in. Ryan, if Zoe cries, will you soften up? Ryan flicked his cigarette ash and chuckled. We'll see. But seriously, Ryan, Zoe's personality is so much better than Emma's. Yeah, Zoe is really sweet. Remember when you got in that car accident and she came to see you? She started crying the moment she walked into the hospital room. I was watching from the side and felt sorry for her. Ryan seemed to recall the past, his gaze softening. These days you've been with Emma all the time. I'm sure Zoe's been hiding somewhere crying. I remember the last time I saw her. She looked like she had lost a lot of weight. There's still a scar above her brow. Ryan paused slightly, the cigarette between his fingers. That day, Zoe got hurt too. How could he have been so heartless to leave her behind? But Zoe is always so good, so easy to comfort. He went home and changed into a new white shirt. Zoe really likes it when he wears white shirts. On their first date, Zoe's face turned bright red. She didn't even dare to look up at him. When he kissed her, she was so nervous she almost fainted. He even bought Zoe's favorite hydrangeas. On the way to their meeting, he went out of his way to buy a new cake. Zoe loves sweets, especially small, delicious cakes. The one on her birthday had been destroyed by Emma, but it didn't matter. He would buy her an even bigger, more expensive one. Ryan stood by his car, holding the flowers. He knew his friends were not far away, waiting to watch the excitement tonight. He felt a vague sense of excitement and nervousness, just like a first date. But as the minutes and seconds ticked by, Zoe still didn't come, until even the moon grew tired and disappeared behind the clouds. Ryan checked his watch. It was almost midnight. Finally, he condescended to call Zoe for the first time, but he would only call once. If she still wouldn't come down from her pedestal, then sorry. He would reconsider the idea of getting back together. But the phone rang for a long time with no answer, eventually ending on its own. Ryan frowned, feeling a fire of anger growing inside his chest. Suddenly, he heard his friends exclaim not far away, "There's a car coming. Is it Zoe?" It must be. Zoe loves Ryan so much. Instinctively, he turned to look, his eyes gradually lighting up. Not far away, a taxi stopped. A corner of a white dress swayed in the night breeze. That slender, petite figure, who else could it be but Zoe? Chapter 08. Ryan felt his anger vanish in an instant. Instinctively, he wanted to step forward, but then he forcibly stopped himself. He had waited for her the whole night. She hadn't even answered his call, although he really wanted to see her at this moment. He wouldn't take the initiative to approach her, but the figure had already turned around. The stars gave off only a faint, dim light. The streetlight was far above, casting a weak glow, but it was enough for him to see clearly. The girl approaching wasn't Zoe, even though at first glance, their build, clothes, and even hair looked so similar. It wasn't her. It just wasn't. The friends hidden in the shadows probably realized it too. Suddenly, they all fell silent. The expression on Ryan's face turned icy cold. Moments later, he threw away the flowers in his hand and turned to get into his car. But Emma had already run over, her voice breaking as she called out to him. "Ryan, you're looking for Zoe just because she looks like how I used to be, right? You don't like me arguing with you. Don't like me getting jealous. Don't like me dressing too sexy." As Emma spoke, tears welled up in her eyes. "If I turn back to the way I was before, can we be together properly again?" Ryan looked at Emma in front of him. She looked beautiful when she cried. With her long black hair and white dress, she looked pure and innocent. They had broken up and gotten back together so many times. And in this moment, she really did resemble the way she looked when he first fell for her. But what he found hard to believe, even for himself, was that as he watched Emma cry, he felt pity, but not the same kind of heartbreak he used to feel. Chapter 09. Even more. As he watched Emma cry, he found himself inexplicably thinking of Zoe. Zoe never cried like this, hysterical. Her tears always fell in big drops, but she held them in, never crying out loud. She was always cheerful, so sweet and gentle. Whatever he said, she would nod obediently and say, "Okay." It was as if she never had a temper at all. After being together for a long time, he did feel a bit bored. He thought she wasn't as lively as Emma, not as pretty, didn't share the same interests, didn't know how to have fun like Emma did. But this time, after truly getting back with Emma, he quickly grew tired of her. After their last big argument, he said it bluntly, no more getting back together. He was done. Emma, proud and arrogant, of course agreed. He hadn't expected that she couldn't hold back and ran over tonight, even dressed like the bumpkin she used to mock. For someone spoiled like her, it was indeed a rare sight. Ryan had known her for years. After all, he couldn't be completely heartless. "Emma, don't make yourself look like this. Go home." "Is it because of Zoe? She's just a stand-in for me. A bumpkin from a fishing village." "Ryan, are you crazy? Are you really giving me up for her?" Emma lost control again, growing hysterical. "I don't want to argue. Go home and calm down." Ryan turned to get into his car, but Emma blocked the door. "Ryan, what do you want me to do? I've humbled myself to please you. I even said I'm willing to change back to who you liked." She grabbed Ryan's sleeve, crying louder. "Zoe was only with you for your money. Ryan, I'm the one who truly loves you. Can't you see that? If she really cared about you, would she have stood you up tonight, left you here waiting like a fool? The only time she contacted you after your breakup was to ask for compensation. Did you forget that?" Ryan's expression darkened, and he clenched his teeth. She was hurt that day. Compensating her was the right thing to do. "I asked the doctor. It's just a minor injury. A few stitches. Nothing close to disfigurement." Seeing his dark expression, Emma continued, "And tonight, she agreed to come but didn't show up. What does that even mean?" Ryan didn't respond, but his face grew even more sullen. Emma knew that Ryan had always been proud and arrogant. For him to lower himself even once was already a miracle. If Zoe was trying to play hard to get, she had definitely picked the wrong person. Ryan, she's just treating you like a golden meal ticket, trying to climb up the social ladder. We're a perfect match. Childhood sweethearts. My love for you is without any ulterior motives. It seemed that Emma's words had moved Ryan. He suddenly stepped forward and gently touched Emma's face. Didn't you always want to go out to sea? Let's go together tomorrow. Emma immediately brightened up. Then I'll borrow my uncle's yacht. How about we go sea fishing? Ryan thought about Emma's influential uncle. Spending time with him would be an opportunity to get closer. He was about to graduate and join the family business. Ryan's family might have some wealth, but he had many peers, and many of them were talented. He didn't want to be a lazy heir, just scraping by with a monthly allowance of hundreds of thousands. If he could establish a relationship with that uncle, it would be incredibly beneficial for him. With these thoughts, Ryan's voice softened further. Are you sure it won't be inconvenient? Not at all. My uncle is super wealthy and always generous to younger family members. Last year, when I visited him for New Year, he even complimented me. Emma spoke with full confidence and pride. She knew that someone like Zoe, poor and manipulative, could never compete with her. Even if Ryan's feelings for her had faded, she still had a wealthy family backing her, and an uncle like Elias. Ryan could tell what mattered. He knew who he should choose in the end. Chapter 10. But the next day, when Ryan and his friends, who were ready to go out to sea, had everything prepared, they waited for a long time but never heard from Emma. Ryan decided to call her. It took a while for Emma to answer, and her voice sounded off, almost as if she were crying. Sorry, Ryan, my uncle needs the yacht today too, so we'll have to borrow it another time. Doesn't your uncle have more than one yacht? Emma stammered, unable to come up with an answer. Ryan chuckled. You lied to me, Emma. Seems like you don't have much influence with your uncle either. With that, he hung up the phone, and as soon as the call ended, Emma threw her phone in anger. Her uncle had clearly agreed to lend her the yacht at first, but after asking for a name, he suddenly refused. Moreover, he added a specific instruction: anyone in the family can use it, except Emma. In less than 3 minutes, this news spread throughout the entire household. Emma was utterly humiliated, and her father, furious, slapped her. The other girls in the family mocked her, both openly and in secret. Emma couldn't understand why her uncle would say such a thing. She had always tried to be especially obedient in front of him. She racked her brains for a long time, but couldn't figure it out. What exactly had she done wrong to upset her uncle? She couldn't understand, but she had a sinking feeling. From now on, her family's status in the larger family would surely plummet. Her parents relied on her uncle to make a living, and now, she had unknowingly offended him. Emma lay on her bed. The more she thought about it, the sadder she cried. What could she do to make amends? Even worse, she didn't even know what she had done wrong. Chapter 11. Ryan. I have an idea. A friend, noticing Ryan's sulky mood, thought of something interesting. Zoe's family lives in a fishing village. Her dad has a fishing boat and often goes out to fish. Why don't we go to Zoe's village, give her dad some money, and rent their fishing boat? In truth, renting yachts to go out to sea was a common pastime for these rich young men, but his friends knew what Ryan truly wanted, so they catered to him. Fishing was trivial. The real goal was to see Zoe. Ryan chuckled. Their shabby fishing boat? Aren't you worried it might capsize? But even so, the group set off with great enthusiasm. When Ryan saw Zoe busy on the fishing boat, he almost blacked out. At school, she always looked so soft and gentle. Now, in her dirty work clothes, holding a large fishing spear and spearing fish with precision, she looked like a wild girl. Tisk. She's really wild. Quite something. Ryan, imagine if she threw that spear at us, there'd be blood everywhere. Ryan kept his eyes fixed on the slender yet agile figure on the boat. He cursed at his friend. She'd spear you first. Chapter 12. Actually, I had noticed Ryan and his group long ago, but I didn't have the time to pay them any attention. These rich young men were always at top clubs and yacht parties. They came to our small fishing village only because they were bored. They were looking for fun. Before, It was because of Ryan that I had any connection with them. But now, none of them had anything to do with me. But as soon as I stepped off the boat with the fishing spear in hand, Ryan called out to me. I didn't avoid him. This was my village, and I wasn't afraid of them, so I walked straight over. What do you want? I asked. Ryan glanced at me, then at the fishing spear in my hand, which was taller than he was. Put that down first. I gripped it even tighter. This is for spearing fish. Are you scared? Ryan's face stiffened, and he changed the subject. You want to rent your family's fishing boat? I shook my head. No way. My dad needs it to go out to sea. Ryan coldly named a number. I was tempted, but I still shook my head. No, we have a whole crew waiting. Ryan doubled the number. My shaking head slowed down. I still need to earn my tuition. Ryan doubled it again. I immediately beamed. Deal. Zoe, you're coming with us too. It's your family's boat. You're familiar with it. And besides, if we catch fish, we'll need you to make soup. I was just about to respond when Ryan added, Don't worry, the tip will be generous. Chapter 13. While they were fishing, I lay around on the deck, bored, feeding the seagulls. I was almost asleep from the sun when Elias suddenly called. I immediately scrambled up. I like talking to Elias, or video calling, or even sending silly messages. He's very patient and never finds what I say pointless. He doesn't care about my background or the calluses on my hands. He even praises my fishing skills and my swimming. In his eyes, it seems like everything about me is special. Because of that, my confidence has skyrocketed. Elias, I made a lot of money today. As soon as the call connected, I started chattering away. Not bad. It sounds like a great deal. Zoe, you're getting more impressive every day. Elias praised me generously. I grinned, lying on the blanket, kicking my feet. Right? All I have to do now is soak up some sun and make soup. And I get a huge tip. If I get a few deals like this a year, I could retire. Zoe, Elias suddenly said. What's up? Has it been a week since we last met? I counted on my fingers. It has. I'll pick you up tonight. I glanced over at Ryan and the others in the distance. I don't know if they plan to fish at night. Elias chuckled softly. Don't worry. They won't. All right. Come pick me up. Sure thing. I've got some work to take care of, but I'll call you later. All right. I reluctantly hung up the phone, but as soon as I did, one of Ryan's foolish friends suddenly fell into the sea. I rushed over, joining the others in throwing swimming rings to him. I even untied the lifeboat secured to the side of the boat and tossed it over. But the guy was panicking, flailing his arms, and splashing around wildly. Before long, he'd swallowed a stomach full of seawater and was drifting further away. I sighed, exasperated, and took off my work clothes. Zoe, what are you doing? Ryan grabbed me by the arm. I looked at him, confused. I'm going to save him. What else? You're going? Who else? Are you going to go? I pushed his hand away, seeing that the guy was about to be overwhelmed by the waves. I didn't waste another second arguing, shrugged off my work clothes, climbed over the railing, and dove headfirst into the sea. Chapter 14. Ryan felt like this was the first time he truly saw Zoe. She leaped into the sea like a beautiful little fish. The waves seemed to become her playmates. The fish swam around her affectionately. Everyone stood silently at the side of the boat, gradually falling quiet. The wind howled. The sails billowed. It felt like all that remained in the world was this symphony of noises. Ryan couldn't tear his eyes away from her. Not for a second. Her slender yet powerful arms cut through the waves, quickly reaching the person in the water. It was clear she had received professional training. Her movements were skilled and precise. She soon pushed the man to the lifeboat. He held onto the lifeboat and gradually recovered. Zoe helped him onto the boat but didn't climb up herself. Instead, she swam a few more joyful laps in the sea. She even caught 2 beautiful little fish. She waved her arms, showing off her catch to them. Her smile curved her eyes into crescents. The sunlight danced on the water, like scattered gold, and she bathed in that shimmering light. She shone even brighter than that golden glow. Her hair was soaking wet, exposing her smooth forehead. Ryan saw the pink scar at the corner of her eyebrow. A sudden pain, sharp like a needle, pricked his heart. It was as if he suddenly understood something. Zoe had never been a stand-in. He had never truly treated her as a stand-in. The real her was nothing like Emma. And in the past, the reason she always appeared so obedient and soft-spoken around him was because she genuinely liked him back then. She had hidden these sides of herself, thinking he wouldn't like them. But now, perhaps she no longer liked him, no longer cared. So now she could be herself without any restraint. Ryan felt an inexplicable pain in his heart. The happier Zoe smiled, the more it ached inside him. She was like a little fish in the sea, and he felt as though he could no longer catch her. Chapter 15. When I came out after showering and changing my clothes, Ryan was waiting for me outside. We were getting ready to head back. Ryan was called back by his family for something urgent, and I had a date with Elias. So right now, all I could think about was getting off the boat, rushing home, and changing into a beautiful dress. Elias loves buying me clothes, and I love the beautiful dresses he buys me. "What's up?" I asked, drying my hair as I spoke. "Zoe." Ryan suddenly took a step forward and gently grabbed my wrist. I was startled, quickly pulled away, and backed up several steps. "Talk if you want, but don't touch me." Ryan stayed where he was. "All right, I won't touch you. Let's just talk." "Zoe, what do you want to say? Does your forehead still hurt?" "It hasn't hurt for a long time. I know a great plastic surgeon. I can take you to get the scar removed." "No need. I already have an appointment." Elias had already arranged it for me. He said he'd make sure that on our wedding day, not even a trace of the scar would be visible. I'd be a bride who shined. What happened that day was my fault. And the money I promised to give you, no need. I finally looked at Ryan. It was the first time I looked at him seriously since we met again. I had liked him, though during the time I liked him, the sad and hurt moments far outnumbered the happy ones. When we broke up, it ended particularly unpleasantly. But between him and me, it wasn't as if we were sworn enemies. I'm a simple-minded person. I prefer to remember only the happy things. The past unhappiness, I don't want to bring up or recall. What's more, now I have a lot of money. Elias gave me a cake that day and a betrothal gift. Later, when we got our marriage certificate, he gave me an even more generous dowry. My little savings stash is full, and I feel very secure. I've already moved forward with great strides. Looking ahead, Zoe. Ryan's voice was incredibly gentle. "Let's start over, okay? I'll pursue you again." I interrupted him. "I can't relive my 21st birthday, nor can I pretend those hurts never happened. Ryan, let's both move forward." "But back then, it was you who liked me first." He held onto the hem of my dress, refusing to let go. I smiled. "But the one who likes first actually has the power. I can always take back my feelings for you, and I can fall for someone else." "That's impossible, Zoe. We've broken up before, but each time, we made up quickly. This time will be the same. This time, it won't." I pushed his hand away, stopping him from getting closer. Why? I didn't want to share my personal life with him, so I just smiled softly. "It has nothing to do with you." Chapter 16. On the night of my date with Elias, I got drunk for the first time. As he carried me to the car, I clung to his neck, refusing to let go. Elias laughed. "Zoe, remember your limits with alcohol." "I can't remember." "Why should I remember? With Elias by my side, I wouldn't be in any danger or have any accidents. There will be times when I'm not around. If you're not by my side, I won't drink." I lay in his arms, feeling soft and lazy, not wanting to move. He felt so warm, but firm. Hugging him wasn't exactly comfortable. I shifted, wiggled, trying to find a comfortable position. Finally, I managed to settle into a spot that felt just right. But while I was comfortable, Elias seemed to be in some discomfort. I looked up at him. The alcohol clouded my vision, making everything blurry. I cupped his face. "Elias, what's wrong?" "Zoe." His voice suddenly turned husky, and his body temperature seemed to rise. I felt hot. He was like a furnace. Instinctively, I wanted to move away from him, but Elias suddenly tightened his grip around my waist. His fingers were long and strong, his palm hot, through the thin fabric of my dress. His warmth seared into my skin. For a moment, I was dazed, staring at him, and Elias lowered his head, kissing me deeply. It was a kind of deep kiss I had never experienced before. Strong and dominating, yet also unforgettable. It felt as if a door to an unknown world was slowly opening in front of me. When the kiss ended, I found myself wanting more. Maybe it was the alcohol, or maybe there was always an untamed wildness in me. As Elias tried to move me off his lap, I lunged forward, kissing him again. More. Elias, kiss me like that again. Zoe. The car was moving smoothly forward. Light from outside flickered through the windows. Elias' face was close to mine, his features looking even more handsome and chiseled up close. Breaths were hot, entangled together. There was a bit of a tickle in my heart. I opened my mouth and bit his chin. Stop being so slow, Elias. His Adam's apple bobbed violently, and suddenly, he flipped us, pinning me down on the car seat. His long fingers grasped my chin. Zoe, open your mouth. The car had been parked for a long time, and yet we were still locked in a deep, unrelenting kiss. At some point, I had tugged at his suit and shirt, leaving them disheveled. His abs and the lines of his V-shaped muscles peeked through. It made me even more entranced. But eventually, Elias still pushed me away. I felt awful, but the drunkenness was overwhelming. When he carried me out of the car, I nestled into his arms and fell asleep. Chapter 17. When Elias carried me upstairs, he gently kissed the side of my face again. His little mermaid had grown up, and he had finally come to fulfill the promise he made back then. In a sprawling, prestigious family, talented individuals in his generation were abundant, both openly and covertly. The competition never ceased. Elias's father had also once been embroiled in a fierce power struggle, to the point that it implicated his wife and children. He had been kidnapped and thrown into the deep sea, when he thought he would sink with the rocks and be buried in the belly of the ocean. Zoe suddenly appeared. Her diving gear was basic, but she swam incredibly fast. In his delirium, he even thought he had met the little mermaid from fairy tales. She cut the ropes with a small knife she carried, then dragged him to the surface. He spent that night lying on a rickety fishing boat, saved by her fish soup. She talked a lot, chirping endlessly. She had so many wishes. She wanted to buy her dad a new fishing boat. She wanted her brother to open a shop on shore. She wanted the boy she liked to like her back. She wanted an endless supply of little cakes. At the time, he didn't have the strength to respond, but he remembered it all. And now, the time had come for him to fulfill those wishes. One by one. The only thing was, back then, the person she liked was Ryan. Now, would she like him? He thought he had enough patience to wait for the day he got the answer. Chapter 18. In my last few months at school, Ryan initially kept coming around, pestering me, but after a few days, he disappeared. Later, I heard from my best friend Roxana that Ryan seemed to have gotten himself into trouble. He had caused a huge mess for his family's company. It seemed that from now on, he wouldn't be able to enter the core family business again. As for Emma, it seemed that overnight she had been blacklisted by the socialites of Hong Kong. I had a vague sense that all of this was probably Elias's doing. The childish things I had once said, he had taken them all seriously. But I'm not the kind of person who's magnanimous. Of course, I wouldn't speak up for Ryan or Emma. These things, I heard them, but I didn't really care. A year flew by in the blink of an eye. I inherited my dad's fishing boat, and I was getting married. Elias was usually very low-key, but this wedding was unprecedentedly extravagant. When the entire city's attention was on the wedding, Elias quietly let out a message. The wedding will be grand, with many guests, but 2 people are not on the invite list. Sir, could you tell us who these 2 individuals are? Ryan, Emma. Within just a few minutes, Ryan and Emma's names spread throughout all of Hong Kong once again. Later, I quietly asked Elias, by doing this, they will have no place in the city anymore. Emma still calls you uncle. Won't the family think you're too ruthless? Elias pulled me into his embrace, playing with my fingers. rubbing the thin calluses on my fingertips. After a while, he spoke softly. I've already been merciful. After all, he was someone who fought his way through blood and turmoil. Just making those two unable to set foot in Hong Kong was indeed an act of mercy for him. And the reason he did this was because someone who once didn't believe in fate had come to believe in it. He wanted his wife to live a long life and grow old with him, so he considered it an act of accumulating virtue. He hated Emma, and he hated Ryan even more. The thought that Ryan had once received her affection kept him awake at night. Now that they were far away from Hong Kong, unlikely to ever return, Elias finally felt a bit of peace in his heart. I can't really see the mercy in you, but this is good too. I still remember how arrogant Emma was after hurting me. I pulled my hand away and frowned. My hands are still rough. But you were so happy spearing fish. What can we do? Elias shook his head helplessly. True enough. If I have calluses, then so be it, after all. Elias doesn't mind. Happiness is the most important thing. Zoe. Elias hugged me from behind. We stood before the massive floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the distant harbor and mountains. This entire bay is yours. What would I do with such a big bay? I turned to look at him. All I need is a boat and a small piece of sea. Is that all? I paused, suddenly realizing something. And for once, my mind was sharp. Oh, right. And I need you too. Elias suddenly laughed. He looked down at me, smiling for quite a while. Then he slowly leaned down and kissed me. At least you still have some sense. I wasn't shy at all, immediately hooking my arms around his neck and standing on tiptoe to meet his kiss. Don't stop halfway tonight. It makes me so uncomfortable. I always sleep poorly afterward, having all kinds of crazy dreams. Elias suddenly pulled me closer. Our bodies pressed tightly together. All right. This time, even if you ask me to stop, I won't. I'm not going to ask you to stop. He kissed me, then chuckled. All right. Then we'll see. Zoe.